Your kids could get free or low-cost health coverage from Medicaid or CHIP. Even if you've applied before, they may be eligible now. Kids up to age 19 are covered for checkups, vaccines, dentist visits, hospital care, and more. And if they already have Medicaid or CHIP, remember to renew every year. Visit insurekidsnow.gov or call 877-KIDS-NOW. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Shop the Sherwin-Williams Labor Day sale and get 35% off paints and stains August 22nd through September 4th. With prices starting at $31.84, it's the perfect time to transform your space with color. Whether you're looking to revamp your interior or exterior, we have you covered with bold hues, soothing neutrals, and everything in between. Visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store or shop the sale online. Delivery available on qualifying orders. Click the banner to learn more. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
The following podcast may contain discussions supported by science that may be considered dangerous to some listeners and conspiracy theorists. Discretion is advised.
The Three Down Greencast is brought to you by Lucky Bastard Distillers, Saskatchewan's premier distillery, and by the Pile of Bones Brewing Company, brewed in the heart of Regina.
Welcome to the Three Down Greencast. You are listening to the internet's only Just How Petty Can You Be podcast. I am Joel Gasson with John Fraser, as usual. I guess a few things to get through. After
just one or two, right?
After some kind of football game on Sunday afternoon into the evening, as it was the 60th Labor Day Classic at Mosaic Stadium. The Riders Bombers played in front of a record crowd at the New Barn, 34,243. I will say a significant number of Bomber fans, but the vast majority is still in green. But yeah, the blue was definitely well represented as well. Great atmosphere, heck of a game. Lots to talk about from that one. We will talk about that. And of course, this weekend's Banjo Bowl as well. And
this is how you can tell we don't work for the Riders. We actually call it the Banjo Bowl.
Mm-hmm. And that is one thing, I kind of understand why maybe some people don't like calling it that. That being said, I would say that it's kind of taken on a mind of its own. I think the sort of original comment from Troy Westwood has sort of disappeared. I think it's
long gone.
It's just become what it's called now. And I think even to a degree, like Winnipeg and Manitoba accept their sort of banjo-ness in this as well. It's not just...
It's fair.
It's not just accepted. It's not just sort of considered a shot at Saskatchewan at this point. So I think it's fun. I like it. I understand the team's never going to call it that ever again. That's fine. That's their prerogative. But it's these sorts of things that make these games fun. The Labor Day rematch just doesn't quite ring the same. Looking at you, Calgary and Edmonton. So come up with something.
That doesn't, how does that not have a name?
Yeah,
all these years, and it's always a classic, and it's always a fight. I love how their records heading into this one were perfectly even, perfectly balanced as all things should be, and they don't have a cool name for the rematch. So it sounds clunky, because you can tell everybody wants to call it the Banjo Bowl, and then it's the Labor Day rematch as they're teeing it up. As I was listening to a friend of the program, Dave Thomas and Luke Mullender on this one, as we'll get into that in a bit here.
To TSN's credit, they won't bow to the team. They still call it the Banjo Bowl, and they lean right in on it usually. So,
100%. I mean, Bomber fans do too. If you go to a Banjo Bowl, everybody's now dressed up as banjo playing hillbillies.
Yep. Everyone's having fun, and that's why this thing has become a success, and everyone comes out to it in Winnipeg, even when the Bombers suck.
Yes, it's true. But when both teams are good, which by our research, the past few years are basically the first time in the 60-some-odd years of this rivalry that both teams have been legitimately good, it adds an extra layer of spice to it, and oh boy, did we see that this weekend.
Absolutely. The other sort of weird Labor Day rematch weekend quirk is I never understand why Toronto and Hamilton don't play this week.
Right?
I know there's the other three teams that were off last week, and there's questions about whether all three of them should have been off. I don't know why Ottawa and Montreal don't play last week.
That seems to me like a rivalry that would be so easy to ignite.
Yeah, and they tried for a bit, and then they stopped, and I know they've made it the Thanksgiving Day game in Montreal, which is great. But you could have this game in Ottawa, and you could try to make something out of it at least. And then if we ever get a 10th team, then I guess it's BC against them for the final game of the week. But yeah, it's just weird to me that number one, Ottawa and Montreal don't play on Labor Day weekend. You could stash that game on Saturday or Friday, or even if you want to do a doubleheader on Sunday. I mean, sure, whatever works. There's scenarios in there where they could all work. And B, why Hamilton and Toronto don't have the rematch? Maybe it's because Toronto doesn't care as much. I don't know. It's just a strange one.
I think that's something, because I remember the first time they stopped doing it, there was a lot of noise about that, and MLSE just basically shrugged their shoulders and went, whatever, we don't care anyways.
I mean, they barely care about playing home games, apparently, so that adds up.
So I don't think MLSE gives a shit and are doing anything they can to actively run this team into the ground, hoping that somebody else will buy it, especially now that Rogers basically owns all of MLSE, right? So it makes no sense, especially considering, historically, that's kind of always been the best game of the weekend.
More often than not, yeah.
And again, I've got no numbers or anything to back this up, but it feels to me like...
Maybe it's just because emotionally over the years you've been less invested in that game than the Rider-Bomber game. And generally speaking, those teams have both also been good at the same time periodically throughout their time in existence, essentially.
Right. Unlike the Riders and Bombers, who at best have been, kind of meh at the same time until recent history. I think maybe it's just too, I still have distinct memories of, that was always one of the things you do on your last day of freedom is you'd watch those games before you went back to school on the 2nd. So, but it just seems to me, and again, I might be totally speaking out of my ass here, which wouldn't be the first time.
No.
It seems like that's always the best game of the weekend. I'm shocked that they don't have that rematch, but again, hey, MLSE, that's Toronto sports for you.
Maybe one day we may see fans at BMO Field holding up signs that traveled great distances to show their displeasure.
Yes.
We have to share this story that I saw on Blue Sky from Dominic Campbell. He covers the Pittsburgh Pirates for SI and the Pitt Panthers, basically, also for Sports Illustrated.
So clearly why you follow him.
No, I don't even follow him. He ended up in my feed through, I believe, one of the college football guys I follow.
That's fair. There's a few of those that you follow.
Yeah, so it ended up in my feed. Essentially, what he says was, a fan at PNC Park said they flew 23 hours to watch the Pirates and they had a sign in English and Japanese, I believe, on the Jumbotron.
Yeah.
The fan flipped the sign over, which said, so I guess the sign said, they flew 23 hours to watch the Pittsburgh Pirates, which, before you hear the second half of the story, is one of the most insane things you could ever do, is travel any sort of distance specifically to see the Pittsburgh Pirates, because people that live 5 minutes from PNC Park do not go watch the Pittsburgh Pirates. Because if you don't know much about baseball, they are probably one of the worst run teams in the league, because the ownership just does not care, because MLB's system is so broken that you can make money without doing a single thing.
Yes.
So that's all that is. It's just, here comes the revenue check at the end of the year. Thanks, the rest of the league. That's how a number of teams in MLB currently operate. But anyway. So then he flipped the sign, which then said, Bob, who is the name of the owner, sell the team, in both English and Japanese, to which the Jumbotron then quickly focused on another fan.
That is a level of pettiness I aspire to be one day.
Oh, it's incredible. I love it. Here I am going all the way from Japan to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. How there's a Pittsburgh Pirates fan in Japan to begin with, I'm not entirely sure.
Right.
There hasn't been, as far as I can remember, a long list of great Japanese baseball players that have come to Pittsburgh. Because I would anticipate in Japan, generally speaking, you probably have fans of the expected teams, like the New York Yankees, the Chicago Cubs, St. Louis Cardinals, those sort of big brand teams, right?
Seattle Mariners.
And then the other side of it is obviously the Seattle Mariners. LA Dodgers kind of fall in both categories, but those teams over the years that have had those Japanese superstars that came over, you would expect to see those teams as well. Who the hell in Japan is cheering for the Pittsburgh Pirates?
Somebody who hates them enough to fly
spend
there and
thousands of dollars on top of buying tickets to tell the owner to sell the team in person. That's yeah.
I mean, and that's some grade A jumbotron bait. I mean, we've seen a few moments like that in MLB this past week. I don't know if you saw the clip as well of the guy who was they cut to the fans of the stands, and he's there with his how do I put this appropriately? Wife with big boobs, and
well-endowed partner.
That's just reaches on over and grabs a handful when he knows he's on the camera, right? So it's been a great week for baseball fans and jumbotron operators alike. But
completely random. Speaking of bad sports owners,
yes,
I recently learned that apparently, like, the only team in all of North American professional sports with all of their replies off on social media is the whatever the hell they are right now, Athletics.
Oh my God, I couldn't.
So if you go onto any Oakland social media feed, you get, Oakland, not even Oakland anymore, Sacramento, wherever the hell they are. I think they just call themselves the Athletics for the moment because
they
don't have a stadium that they're actually home in yet because they're supposed to be building one in Vegas, but
it ain't going so well. The Vegas ownership is. Hey, it's funny. This is going to be like this athletic situation as we go on a baseball tangent here. Reminds me of like when the Winnipeg Jets came back and everybody's like, "Oh, it's Arizona, Arizona." Out of nowhere, you've got Atlanta moving to Winnipeg. Like, this feels like the best hope to get the Expos back now.
Potentially.
Like,
I hope MLB keeps them in the AL West. Just because.
Well, the Jets played their first year back in Winnipeg in the, whatever the hell the division was. They were like Carolina, Washington.
Yeah.
Like,
well, it's because the schedule was already set in the whole thing, so they couldn't really do much about it. But
that's fair. That's touche. That's I get
and
that.
I believe baseball is set, and baseball already has like their schedule for next year already out. So yeah, if this scenario does play out, it's possible, but I don't think that's going to happen because Montreal doesn't have a facility for them to play in either because they're currently renovating the Big O. So that's to the tune of nearly $1 billion to put a new roof on it. But anyway,
which is insane. Which is also, by the way, great documentary if you get a chance to watch it about the conundrum with the Big O and why they're spending $1 billion. It actually kind of makes sense. But I could you imagine, like, what level of pettiness, like which level of frustration with a sports team? And I know you've basically given up on hockey.
Yes. I gave up on hockey initially because of Eugene Melnyk.
Yes.
And I made the decision because we all could see that we all knew it was coming, that when they finally traded Erik Karlsson after about a year of talking about it, that I would drop the team. I wouldn't watch them until Eugene Melnyk sold the team.
Right.
He ended up dying before that happened. I thought about it for a bit, and realistically, I just didn't care to get back into it. I just got so out of habit of watching the sport that I didn't realize how little I actually missed it or cared.
So okay,
because hockey especially was such a time suck. Like I was watching like 2, 3, 4 times a night a week, and it's like,
right, what
am I doing here? Just sitting and watching hockey all the time.
Right. I mean,
not that I get out and do anything more, but I mean, I can do other things now.
I do enjoy it for background watching, but I just like I could not imagine being that upset with like you are probably out of all the teams. The Steelers are
and the Steelers are close to doing it to me. We'll see how this year goes. If it goes as I expect, and they have to blow it up in the offseason, then I'll be fine.
Okay, so once we know we can go to Pittsburgh without getting stabbed or shot,
or deported by ICE or something. Yeah.
That's right, or getting iced, not in the fun way with the Smirnoff vodka.
No. And friend of the show and I, Dan Plaster, were talking about this the other day though, because the college football season kicked off a couple weeks ago with week 0 with the game in Ireland. We're like, at this point, if we're going to go watch a college football game, we're probably just going to Dublin to watch that game.
No, I would, as somebody that has talked about a road trip with you in front of the show, Dan Plaster, to go watch college football, the current state of things, I would also be going to Dublin. But I think my only level of pettiness would be if Zach loses another 2 Grey Cups, I would fly to his Hall of Fame ceremony and hold up, like, I came all the way from Saskatoon to see you, Zach, and then flip my sign around and be like, Zach is mid.
Maybe Dave can get you one of those really big ones, like in the memes he makes.
The funniest thing is I actually, for work, I just put in an order with a local printing shop. So it wouldn't be out of the question for me to just add, oh, by the way, on top of those 12 posters I needed for this month, can you just do this for me and as big as you can get? So I feel like Although
I'm not like, I don't know if you will have to do that. I don't know if there's 2 Grey Cup appearances left in this Bombers squad, especially if we're talking, 2-3 years probably before Collaros retires.
Yeah.
I mean, you've set the bar pretty high to actually have to follow through with this.
Listen, if they lose 2 more Grey Cups, I think I have to do it. What if
for some reason it's like Labor Day last week where Zach actually played pretty well for most of the game and they still lost?
I would. Okay, so this is the thing. I just associate Zach not playing well in Grey Cups with Grey Cup losses.
Yeah.
If Zach went out and played, if he put up a stat line like he did in Labor Day this past Sunday,
yeah,
I think I could get off of it. It's like every Grey Cup, though, is like, oh, look, Zach was mid once again. Every West final, he was mid once again. And I've gotten to the point, Yeah, he was yuck last year. But I've gotten to a point now where I don't bring it up on social media because I don't feel like fighting with strangers on the internet anymore.
Mm-hmm. Funny how that website went that way.
Right? Mm-hmm. But even I feel like I haven't done it on Blue Sky, but I feel like it would just go that way. Like, I've got so many times of being like, hey, here's the hard evidence that proves that Zach Collaros is good but not great. And everybody's like, my argument has never been he's bad.
No.
My argument has always been he's good, not great. And yet we celebrate him like he's great, and yet I get ripped apart for that every single time. Except my piece de resistance, though, is...
I think people are coming around on it, though. I think I've noticed a difference in tone around coverage of Zach Collaros the last couple of years, I would say.
Yeah, they're still letting him off the hook for ignoring his phone calls, but what can I do? I might be a little upset about Labor Day still. What can I say? Hey,
you said you were in your grace period now, and it didn't matter. You said that last week.
I am, and it's funny. I am in the 5-year grace period. I am. So I can't get really ranty mad, but it's more like stubbing your toe. It's just like, damn it, I stubbed my toe, right? Like, it's just there was so many things that they could have done just a little bit better and come out with a Labor Day victory, because at this point, I think they have a better chance of winning Labor Day than winning a Grey Cup. And at this point now, after seeing them win a couple Grey Cups, winning Labor Day is almost sweeter, because I can tell you, as a Bomber fan that has lived in Saskatchewan for the past almost 20 years, it's pretty sweet when you win on Labor Day. Like, it's like... the Grey Cup doesn't have the same oomph, because at best you're beating them in the West Final, and usually if you beat Saskatchewan in the West Final, or vice versa, if Saskatchewan beat us in the West Final, be like, yeah, hey, of course I'm going to cheer for you guys in Grey Cup, fuck the East, right? But Labor Day is like, I get to walk around and be like, we won Labor Day. And it doesn't happen. So I feel like that's why I have some toe stubbery going on about this game this week.
The Riders nearly did stub their toe in that game, so we will talk about the end of that game and the first 45, 50 minutes of that game as well. But as always, John, before all that, for the Pile of Bones Brewing Company, what is in the glass this week?
Last night, it was the Pile of Bones Double White IPA. I am out of those now, so also on sale, right? 8%, and they go down so smooth. How can you hate them? It was funny, on the way back so I spent my Sunday at Attons Lake, just outside of Battleford. It's a great place to go. Nice sandy beach, clear water for guys like us that come from Ontario and are a bit of lake snobs, right? Great place. Had the game on the radio the whole time. It was great. And then on the way back to the city, stopped because, I was driving and Lacey wanted a couple more drinks. So she picks up her Saskatoon Berry iced tea, and I walk in, and Double White IPA is on sale, vodka's on sale, and Blackbridge Brewery's Wheat Burst was on sale for $12 for 4 of them gas.
Yeah, I know what's in my flyer, yeah.
Oh, it's I didn't check your flyer. I just went to a random Sobeys Liquor on the way back to Battleford.
They always put a bunch of stuff on sale along with all the local spirits.
So I literally walked out with my arms full of Blackbridge Brewery. I bought Battleford Sobeys Liquor out of it because that is one of the best deals for one of the best beers in the province, and that's what I'm sipping on tonight. And I've already had my cup of vodka from our friends at Lucky Bastards, so we're going to get spicy tonight.
Fair enough. Coming up, starting, I guess you're probably listening to this starting on Thursday. Great deal. Also, not to plug my work too much, but at Champagne 12 packs on sale for $26.99. So if you need a great beer that tastes like beer that's local, that is one to pick up for sure. For me, I picked up that was also on sale for a good deal from our friends at 9 Mile Legacy Brewing. Probably our favorite Saskatoon brewery, at least mine.
I second that. High Keys up there too.
Yep.
But I think 9 Mile is the current clubhouse leader.
Yeah, for me, the Rafiki Moha West Coast IPA.
Can't go wrong.
Just it's a really solid sort of little bit piney, little bit hoppy, just one of those great classic IPAs that is great when it's still summer.
And we've made podcast history tonight.
Have we?
You've plugged your work before I've plugged mine.
Yeah, I mean, you did say you ordered signs at work. I don't know if that counts. But...
No, but
and in fairness, I only mentioned my work because you mentioned it first.
That's fair, but we still have set some history on this podcast. And when I brought up that I did that for work, I didn't bring up the fact that you can get yourself a great deal, 0% financing up to 72 months on Ram trucks this month. Dodge City Auto, big store at 8th Street. Come see me.
Does the free undercoating for one of our listeners still apply? Has anyone claimed that yet?
100%. If you walk in and you're like, John, I'm buying a truck, I want free undercoating, I'm just going to be like, yeah, 100%, I'll pay for it. Pay for it out of pocket if I have to.
Rider fans were happy to pay out of pocket to head to Mosaic Stadium on Sunday afternoon into the evening.
Well done.
As mentioned, a record crowd for New Mosaic Stadium for a football game as the Riders and Bombers played in the 60th Labor Day Classic Diamond anniversary, I believe they call that. Am I wrong on that?
No, I don't know. I had my Keys to the City page pulled up, but it just didn't come up.
Of course you did. No, that could be 50. I could be wrong. It is something. It's enough of an anniversary that I know this. If it were a marriage, you could get a letter from the, I guess now, king. Not that you would want that now, but you can get a letter from the head of the state at that point in time if you were married for 60 years. I know that because my grandparents were married for 60 years, and they got one of those letters. We got them one of those letters from the Queen, which is kind of cool.
Very cool. It is a diamond. You are bang on that one.
Wow.
So
I can't believe I got that. Don't ask me to name any of the other sort of anniversaries. I think one is paper. After that, I don't remember.
All right, new list opening up. Set the stage. We're gonna get into this list here.
The Riders added to their list of victories on Labor Day.
Come on!
As they came away 34-30, the victory over the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in, I'm not going to say the wildest Labor Day Classic between these two teams ever, because there's been many of those over the years, and my history of this game only really goes back to 2012, so that would not be fair for me to sort of say that, but it certainly has to be in the realm of it just for the way that game finished. And I mean, the Riders found a way to win, and then ultimately that's really the bottom line here. And I think it was a game they had to win, not necessarily for like standings reasons, because they'd still be kind of tied. They'd be second in the West right now because obviously Calgary won and they have the tiebreaker, et cetera, et cetera. So they'd still be in pretty decent shape overall had they lost. But I think had they lost, considering what happened the week before against Calgary and the month before that against Calgary, and this is probably the only other team on their schedule that's, you could say, in the range of the sort of caliber that the Calgary Stampeders are. Had they lost this game, I think there would have been severe questions about just how good this team really is.
Did you know the modern anniversary gift for a 7th anniversary is a desk set?
I did not know.
You do now. But
okay.
Damn it, Gass, you are bang on that. Had they blown this one, I think that was a storyline that you and I were talking about last week. Is this just showing, is Calgary a puzzle piece team, or are they just not good against really good opponents, right? And you said it best. It's becoming more and more clear in the CFL this year that there might only be 2 really good teams.
Yeah, because Hamilton sure let that one get away. Whew.
Yeah, yikes! Hamilton blowing that lead,
and leading the East now at 6-5.
Shop the Sherwin-Williams Labor Day sale and get 35% off paints and stains August 22nd through September 4th. With prices starting at $31.84, it's the perfect time to transform your space with color. Whether you're looking to revamp your interior or exterior, we have you covered with bold hues, soothing neutrals, and everything in between. Visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store or shop the sale online. Delivery available on qualifying orders. Click the banner to learn more. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
I love chaos. I love, and this is like pure chaos here. Even the West is unsettled. It's that much of a chaos here, right? So yep. I think the fact that the way that it came out, and if you've got 34,000 at your back, it's a game you traditionally win. It's kind of marks the start, of the meat and potatoes of the season. So to come out with a victory is great. Now, the question is like we talked about stubbing toes and things like that, is almost stubbing your toe again. And realistically, I think Winnipeg left a lot on the table.
They did. I mean, both teams did. So
yeah, I had the pleasure of listening, and I mean this when I say pleasure, of listening, because like I said, I was at the beach, wasn't in front of a TV for this one like I traditionally am, listening to Dave Thomas and Luke Mullender. My goodness. Like, it's the cadence of both those guys. They're perfect broadcasters in the sense for a radio game is if you're sitting on the beach, you're relaxing, you're having a beer, and you can tell that a big moment has not happened, but a big moment is coming. So they did a great job. It felt like I was part of it, and it was even funnier because I was there, my in-laws from Lloyd met us there, and they were watching on their phones. And I'm just kind of like laying on the beach, enjoying the game on the radio. The phone was ahead of the radio, though, so my nephew...
Which is a wild sentence something good to say out loud, because like if you listen on a traditional radio, you're going to be faster than basically any other media you can find.
Oh, 100%. But I'm listening Bluetooth on my cell phone,
yes.
Right? So The funniest thing was anytime anything good happened for the Riders, my nephew looking at me with a stone-cold expression and just turning the speaker up. So that's how I experienced this one. But this is one of those, when you look big picture... There are some concerns. Now, again, I don't know if the end should have been as dramatic as it was.
No, we'll get into that.
Yeah. But I think big picture, you got the win against a tough Winnipeg team. Mm-hmm. Even as they're, kind of in the back nine of this era of Bomber football. Collaros played really well.
He played all right,
So I can't go out and say, hey, Zach is mid and throw it on him like I do when he's not that great. So... I think it was a statement win for the Riders. I think it gives them the flexibility, if you will. I mean, if you can go out and win the Banjo Bowl, you don't even have to worry about Winnipeg for the rest of the season. Not that you really have to worry about Winnipeg anyways, but you go out win the Banjo Bowl, that's a statement, big, but you've also given yourself enough breathing room that we're not all asking the questions if you don't win the Banjo Bowl this coming weekend.
Mm. Yeah, and you talk about one big Winnipeg mistake, and I think for them, the Riders, and this was like sort of a repeat of what happened at against Hamilton a few weeks ago.
Yes.
Was early on in the game when Winnipeg got off to a 7-0 lead. They looked like they were playing pretty well, and the Riders had their typical sort of slow start that they tend to enjoy from time to time.
Yes.
And then they turn the ball over because Trevor Harris kind of bumps into his old lineman, and the ball runs loose, and the Bombers recover, and they're already in a goal line situation, basically. And then for some reason, they just bring out Chris Streveler for that drive. Run a couple of weird.
Oh my God.
Just kind of run a couple of times.
Oh.
And then the second time, if he takes it harder up, he actually could have got in, but didn't. And then they're on the basically 3-yard line. And Mike O'Shea kicks a 10-yard field goal.
I turn to
make it 10-0 and give the Riders 37 yards of field position and completely let them off the hook. And I think pretty much all of us said at that time that there we go. There's the Riders' chance to get back in this. And surely enough, after that, until the final wacky 5 minutes of the game, they had outscored them 31-7 after that.
I went one step further, and so outside of Max, I was literally surrounded by Rider fans. Mm-hmm. And when they kicked that field goal, I turned to my brother-in-law and father-in-law and went, you guys are winning the game. You guys are absolutely winning. Because what I don't get, especially in the modern CFL, where I get it, every point is valuable and stuff like that, but the field position you give up when you take a chicken shit field goal like that.
It's just not worth it, though. That's the whole point. And like I'm starting to get to the point where with this, if you kick the field goal below the 10-yard line, if you're within 10 yards, if you're say within 10 to 5 yards, let's bump it out to the 45. If you're kicking from the line of scrimmage being the 5 or 1, then let's bump this thing out to midfield. If you kick the field goal, like this, it's getting ridiculous. It's like they're not understanding why the rule is in place the way it is. 3 points is just simply not worth the 37 yards. Forget the real actual atrocity in this decision making here is you're up 7-0. The Riders just turned the ball over. The best case scenario for them is to give up a field goal, and you just do it for them and let them breathe a sigh of relief instead of jamming the ball down their throat and basically running away with this football game from there.
Especially
because you would have had 34,000 fans silent had the Bombers been up 14-0 at that point.
And the defense, the Winnipeg defense was playing so well. Like, I get it if maybe you're in a shootout and it's late in the game.
Yeah, there are scenarios, sure. And like my proposal to change this to like where you bump it out to the 45 in midfield would not apply in the final 3 minutes of either half.
No, 100%. I would even say anything within the 20. You should not be kicking a 27-yard field goal, right?
Well, I mean, like the line of scrimmage being right. It is, wherever you kick it from is 7 yards back from there, whatever. But right, so yeah. But
it just like, and I said this, and I knew you would agree because you and I were texting about it basically instantly. That if you're Saskatchewan, and you just alluded to it, your best case outcome of that turnover is Winnipeg scores a field goal.
Yeah.
I mean,
generally speaking, there's absolute pie in the sky best case scenarios, you turn the football back over, but that's generally unlikely.
Or Sergio goes doink off a field goal post, right? Also highly unlikely. So if you're Winnipeg, kicking a field goal is playing right into their hands. Your best case is getting a touchdown. Your second best case is pinning them at the 3.
Yes, especially a team that didn't do anything until a few minutes into the second quarter.
A team that, minus a couple flashes yesterday and flashes through the season, is not generally a team that moves the ball in chunks.
No.
The perfect team to tap, to stick them at the 3-yard line if Collaros, Estrevler, whomever comes up short. And as well, to me, I don't understand why if you're Mike O'Shea, you bring Estrevler, out on first down if you're not planning on going for it on 3 downs.
Yes.
Like if you bring Estrevler out on first down and you get anything, Zach should be back in for second and third down and just go for it. Or if you keep Estrevler in, you're bringing Zach in for a third down play, right? Like, it was the moment they let them off the mat. The pressure was on. You said it that you could have silenced New Mosaic. Instead, basically everybody breathes a sigh of relief, and Saskatchewan goes Death Star mode for 3 quarters.
Well, yeah, and it's funny because people will say, well, the Riders didn't respond with a touchdown. No, but because they started throwing 40, and I believe they picked up 1 first down after that.
I think so, yeah.
So they were midfieldish. They were able to punt and pin the Bombers deep, which then the Bombers fumbled the ball and turned over on their next possession, which led to the touchdown and the lead. Had it been the other way, had the Riders been at the 3, they pick up a first down, they're punting from like their own 15-yard line instead, and the Bombers are maybe taking over around midfield.
This seems to me like something...
This is easy math, and I suck at math.
Yes. Well, now that I don't do math on the daily, I can admit I kind of suck at it. I'm just good with computers. I feel like this is something that the next generation of coaches will be phasing out. It's the same way.
It'll be this. I think this will eventually become the norm. Like actually going for it, they will figure it out. I mean, hopefully they will figure it out and they'll start doing it just like nobody concedes to safety anymore. Like 5 years ago, it was still occasionally happening. Now it never happens. Never.
No. And it shouldn't never, ever happen. And I thank friend of the program, Derek Taylor, for making that never, ever happen because it was the stupidest thing you could ever do. And it was something you only saw in the CFL. College and the NFL have thought, and that's even like... And it's like, we've talked about this a bit, too, that the CFL used to be ahead of the NFL in offensive innovation. Mm. Now, if you watch the NFL, the number of times they go for it on 4th down.
Oh, they'll go for it on like 4th and 7th, at 4th and 7 anywhere in plus territory, basically.
That's exactly it. Like, if you're in that kind of gray zone where the field goal's not an automatic and the punt is just stupid, now they go for it. We're not just talking about the Dan Campbells of the world. Tons of teams are going for it. So I'm sure this is something we'll see ripple through coaches eventually, and I hope it does. And I just, like, not to knock Mike O'Shea for his success, but Mike O'Shea is dug in on his guys and his ways, and this is something he tends to do a lot, and it's something that generally backfires. I mean, you saw the same thing in the Calgary game.
Yep.
Right?
Which is the other extreme of a field goal.
Yes, exactly, right? So to me, that was the proverbial TSN turning point. I said it, you said it, we all said it, and you can just tell. Like, the teams these days are too good and too close that if you give them an inch, it's enough to just completely flip the switch, turn games around, and that's what you saw in the Labor Day Classic. I'm not saying it's entirely the reason they won, but it's a really good chance. Like, if Winnipeg scores a touchdown there, I don't know if Sask pulls it off.
I don't think they do. I really don't. And, you know, that's obvious. That was sort of like the big moment of the game that turned around. But I think overall, a big reason why the Riders were finally successful against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, they finally played like the Toronto Argonauts against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Right.
And
why wasn't everybody?
And we talked about this a lot. Like last year, it was a lot of 3-4 man rush. It was a lot of, and it was like the secondary was still kind of the same sort of approach, but they sent 4 a lot. They sent 5 a lot. They actually found ways to create pressure on Zach Collaros, which, as we all know, is the way to make him, and basically any quarterback crack, is just to constantly be in his face. And they got him to the tune of 5 sacks. And I don't even know how many, QB pressures in general, but there was a lot, and Zach Collaros took a lot of hits in that game. One where his head kind of bounced off the turf when we were all surprised that he didn't miss a single play on offense. Agreed. For some reason. Yep. I mean, he sat out the defensive series, obviously. He didn't go out and play safety. But it was interesting, but nonetheless, that has been sort of the one really big thing that's been missing between these two teams in terms of getting the Riders over the hump, because it's been plainly obvious, and they just hadn't done it until this game when they finally, that defensive front right now is wrecking just about every offensive line except Calgary, and they did it to the Blue Bombers as well.
Yes. We always talk about, teams showing the formula to beat a team, and I'm floored as a enjoyer of Winnipeg football that more teams don't do that. Yeah. Like, just send the pressure. I get it. Zach still has the ability to burn you on deep balls, and you saw that in the Labor Day Classic. Yeah. Right? Like,
he has the ability to throw a little bit of a deep ball. He puts a little bit too much under it sometimes. He doesn't have quite the arm he once does, but I think he's in a spot where he thinks he does sometimes. And he's also not quite as quick to get away as he used to be either.
No, I mean, the dude's 37 years old?
Yeah.
He's had like 7 knee surgeries. Like, his legs are basically bionic legs, right? The other thing that bothered me as a Winnipeg fan is Brady Oliveira. It reminds me of the old Marshawn Lynch quote that I figured out that if I just run at you and hit you in the mouth over and over and over again, eventually you're not going to stop me. And they gave him 5 carries.
Yeah.
5 carries. So,
and his last one was a fumble.
Yes. That, again, is going to happen. I don't, there was a lot of things that Saskatchewan did right.
Winnipeg does this a lot, where for some reason they just, especially under their new offensive coordinator Hogan, it seems like they just kind of forget about arguably the best player in the league a lot.
Right.
It's strange.
And this reminds me of the Jason Moss year in Saskatchewan. Which I'm still floored that he turned out to be the head coach that he is, because that was just comical that he would basically be like, all right, well, you didn't get anything on your 5 carries. Let's go full pass all the time mode, right? And you're up 10-0. And your running back, arguably the best in the league, best Canadian running back at least, who was still averaging just about 5 yards a clip, you just don't give him the ball. Like, I don't... There's a lot of things that this game showed. If you're a Bomber fan, these are kind of the things that I've been on my soapbox for a while, seeing coming. And it's disappointing. And again, I have to admit, 5-year grace period and all that. And I get this is the twilight of the era of this era of Blue Bomber football. But yeah, I don't want to take anything away from the Riders. Like, I think Winnipeg, it took aim at foot and fired, and the Riders took advantage until the absolute bananas land final 5 minutes. Like, that was just peak football.
Yeah, and that's where things really get interesting. And I think it really started around the 8-minute mark when the Riders got the ball back. They forced Winnipeg to punt, and you would think, okay, here's their chance to put their foot down, at least put together a decent drive, a few first downs, pin them deep, and then just let's just put this thing away.
Right.
And they promptly went 2 and out, as they often do in those moments, and everything just kind of spiraled from there. They did get the stop on the next drive, but then, of course, Mario Alford fumbles, and then there's a touchdown the other way, and it's a 7-point game again. And then the Riders are coming back down, and then this is where I think the moment none of us saw coming occurred. For a variety of reasons. It was 3rd and 6.
It's college football season's in full swing. I get it.
3rd and 6 at the 44-yard line or so. Corey Mace opts to not kick a 51-yard field goal. Makes you think. We'll leave it at that.
I mean, can't blame the guy. They said it. And again, Dave and Luke said right on the broadcast, this is a sign he doesn't believe in Brett Lowther at this moment, because that field goal puts the game away.
Yeah.
It's over if he makes that kick.
Anyway, so then Trevor Harris in the offense trots out, and all of us upstairs are like, are they going to go for this? Are they going for this? And I'm like, what? So initially, I think most of us kind of had the thought, okay, they're going to try to draw them offside, see if they can get a cheap 5 yards, make it 3rd and 1, and then you can bring out Stone Cold Tommy Stevens and pick up the first down.
Great name.
Yeah, and they play Stone Cold Steve Austin's theme every time he picks up the first down through the sneak. It's incredible.
They don't, do they?
They do. They do it every time he picks up the first down on the sneak.
No way.
They play
it
every time. They don't play it very loud, and they don't play the shatter loud enough. That's the one thing I say. They need to play it louder. But yes, they do it. They do it every time. It's great.
Incredible.
So that's kind of what we thought they were going to do. Instead, the ball is actually snapped, and for a brief second, I'm like, "Uh-oh, this is either going to go incredibly well." And like, for the record, I don't hate going for it there.
I love it.
It's a bit far, but okay. Play to win. I would defend the decision had Corey actually gone through it. But then Trevor Harris drops the ball and kicks it. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah.
Incredible.
And it was incredible because not a single Blue Bomber, probably not a single other football, sort of scout expert on the planet was expecting this, because I don't know if Trevor's ever done it, and he certainly doesn't do it very often. And it was a great short punt. Like, it bounced below the 5, obviously, like no one was there. Dietrich Nichols eventually picks it up, and he gets tackled in the end zone.
Yes, which should have been a safety. As a Bomber fan, I will say that should have been a safety.
We'll get to that. Just the whole thing, that whole moment was everything we ever talked about on this podcast, about embracing the dumb, about loving chaos, about having fun with the sport. That was finally the moment for the Riders this year. I was like, aha! They did a thing. It was great, and it was a genius call in the moment, as far as I'm concerned.
I was so happy for you because you finally had a solid dumb at a Riders game this year. Yeah. I was like, because I heard it.
Up until that final few minutes of the game, I was seriously probably sitting, I don't know how many people saw on the pregame show, and it probably ran during the game as well, but I missed it. I don't see as much on the broadcast. I did see some beautiful drone shots on the broadcast, which are great.
Yes.
From that one, but they did this AI bit like they always do, and I don't know what.
Terrifying Gainer.
Yes, I don't know what the story for the Rider one was, or if this was just about Labor Day in general, but they had like Gainer popping out of the ground, and he looked freakier than that cracked out version they released a few years ago. That was set to be the dumb until the final few minutes happened.
and that's fair. That would have made a really good dumb, because I think my reply in Blue Sky said, "Stop it, kill it with fire," and that's the only way to react to that terrifying AI Gainer. No, and that's, I love it when coaches get creative and use the rules to their advantage, because not a soul in that building is expecting you to snap that ball.
No.
B, not a soul in that building is expecting you to punt that ball, right?
The Bombers certainly didn't. They had no one back there.
No, exactly. And it worked out so well as that ball just rolled towards the goal line. And especially the CFL where that single point makes it, even if like Harris would have just unleashed a piss missile and kicked it through the end zone. But what I liked is when you watch the play, Trevor takes that 1 second to go, is my read there? And then punts
he
it.
probably had an option in there. I'm sure he did.
100% he did. You can tell when you watch it, he goes to his first read and then punts. And to use a guy that gets the ball out so quick and is so smart with his reads like Trevor Harris in that spot, just a brilliantly drawn up play, a brilliantly called play, and that's what football should be about, and it essentially decided the game. That play won the Riders the game despite letting Winnipeg back in it.
Yeah, and it should have won them the game at that moment. You brought it up because I'm still perplexed as to how it was considered a rouge, because a lot of people, some people I've seen online, there's been a lot of discussion about it, obviously. To me, it looks very much like he fields it above the goal line. So like the one-ish, between the 1 yard line and the goal line is clearly where Nichols fields the ball. And then as far as I can see, in an attempt to get away, he runs into the end zone and tries to get back out and doesn't.
Yes.
And so initially on the play, they called it a safety, which watching the replay, I agree with that assessment. The replay center apparently did not. They believe the momentum of possession carried him into the end zone, which I don't really know how you come up with that ruling. Watching that, to me, it was, I think of the three possible scenarios, I think the rouge was the most wrongest of outcomes. Yes. I think it should have been a safety on the field, which should have made it a 9-point game. It should have been Rider ball, and it should have been game over, essentially. I could have lived because we see it at all levels of football. Team officials are like very hesitant to call safeties because of how game-changing they are. Like you pretty much have to be tackled below like 5 yards into the end zone pretty much for a safety to be called at any level of football.
At any level, yes.
And so, okay. But then as far as I'm concerned, then he gained possession at the 1, and that's where his forward progress stopped. That's where the ball should be placed.
Absolutely. That's, and you and I are both, we make no secret. We enjoy wrestling, right? That struck me as the CFL Command Center going into the rule book and going, which can we make a decision here that keeps this game close?
Mm-hmm. I mean, put it at the 1 yard line and would have kept it close technically. They would have been 7. The Bombers could have technically won on a touchdown drive if they wanted to.
Yes. Not that they
wouldn't
would go for 2. No, I mean, it just it added to the drama. It added to the intrigue. Thankfully, it's not a major talking point.
No, and to be clear, yes, it made an 8-point game, and you moved to the Bombers to the 40-yard line, and it made it easier for them to score a touchdown. I still don't. The Riders still should have been able to stop them. They knew that the Bombers had to score a touchdown. They should have been able to stop them. So this touchdown still lies on the defense and not the decision that the replay center made, to be clear.
Certainly. Nope, and it always does. Your defense has to come up with a stop. I get it. The timing rules are goofy. I get it. That's why we love the chaos of Canadian football. They should have stopped them, right? And the 2-point, though. Is that not the most athletic play you've seen a defensive back make in the league this year?
I mean, no, because there was the Carter interception in BC.
Oh, right, yeah. Okay, right. Yes,
I mean, this was a throw to the wide side of the field that was late. So I'm pretty sure, most DBs should be able to pick that off with no one around them.
But in fairness, Campbell was moving the wrong way before he came back.
He has the speed to make up for it. I think a lot of other DBs at least knocked that down, yes.
Yes, no, 100%, right? And it was just... I love the fact that this ended on the 2-point convert. The fact that they got the 2 points,
it did rob us of a very, very dramatic finish because the Riders would have had one final possession after the kickoff, maybe with about 25 seconds left, and we could have potentially had either Hero or Goat Brett Lowther. Instead, they got away with it, and just if we want to talk about interesting officiating decisions. I mean, I think on the onside kick the other way, which Roland Milligan made the right call to try and field it. Because I think if it's kicked at you, even if it's 10 yards short, yes, if you have the opportunity to get the ball.
That's what you need to do, yes.
Yes, he unfortunately fumbled it, and chaos ensued. You could make the argument that I think Sergio may have recovered that. He just wasn't strong enough to hold on to it in the pile.
That's what it's.
Which is one of those, I think, is almost a football, it's borderline ball don't lie on the safety is kind of how that onside recovery felt. But
yeah, it like the way Dave and Luke made it sound is that, it should have been Bombers' ball.
Yeah, very well. You easily could have made the argument, I think, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, again, I'm driving back from the lake and the game's on and we're listening, and it sounded like Dave and Luke's call made it sound like that the Bombers were going to get the football back, and I was all of a sudden jacked and glad that I had cruise control on because I was paying zero attention to the road at that point because it was just such a dramatic finish, but. Again, it should have ended with the safety. It should have, Winnipeg could have got it back. And we're not here to rag on the officials, but...
No. I think the officials on the field did a fine job. It was the replay center that blew that one.
Which we've had that discussion before here. So, no, I think it was a classic. It was great, and it makes me excited for the Banjo Bowl next year. Or not next year. Makes me excited for the Banjo Bowl this week. Sorry, Lacey and I were talking about actually coming down for Labor Day next year because the kids will be old enough that we can kind of be like, go to Grandma and Grandpa's. Hence the next year being stuck in my head. But Banjo Bowl should be great. Love the fact that we can call it Banjo Bowl on this here podcast. And I can't wait to pay zero attention at work while I definitely watch the football game on Saturday.
Shop the Sherwin-Williams Labor Day sale and get 35% off paints and stains August 22nd through September 4th. With prices starting at $31.84, it's the perfect time to transform your space with color. Whether you're looking to revamp your interior or exterior, we have you covered with bold hues, soothing neutrals, and everything in between. Visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store or shop the sale online. Delivery available on qualifying orders. Click the banner to learn more. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.